Okay, we're recording. So I just wanted to make sure that everything was explained kind of out loud for you guys for the nutrition program. But some of the first things that I want to address are, first of all, everybody take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Don't stress about this. I know that it's like super duper stressful in the beginning. And you feel like you have to do it perfectly, and you maybe get overwhelmed by like all of the lists and all of the containers and all of the meals and planning it out, and what if I have to go out to eat? Well, that might not be a concern right now, but maybe another time it'll be a concern of yours, and all of those things. And so first of all, this is actually a really great time to be starting on a nutrition plan, because unfortunately we don't have like parties to go to and gatherings to go to, and like that's normally what trips people up. So this is actually a really great opportunity for you to get started, get used to it on your own, and then we can learn how to like bring in eating out at friends and all of those things, because I really want this to be sustainable for your life long term. This is not about eating perfectly. This is not about counting calories. This is not about anything like that. This is literally just about fueling your body well, making sure you're getting all of the proper nutrients, and learning how to do that long term, not just for a 6-week program. So we have 2 nutrition programs through Beachbody. They're different in the way that they're laid out. So the one that is available to you all without like any cost is the containers. So you can get these. I can give you a link to get them through me. If you don't buy them with your initial package, then the shipping's kind of outrageous. So Amazon has them for like they're the same price on Amazon as they are through me. So you can buy them on Amazon if you have Prime, but they actually might come faster if you buy them through me right now. I know Amazon things are backed up. So totally up to you. Whatever you want to do, doesn't matter to me. But you can get them on Amazon. You can buy them through me. You can also look up the measurements online. So if you go online to just type in Google like Portion Fix container measurements, and it should tell you like this green container is equivalent to 1 cup. And so you can measure it out yourself with measuring cups. I did find that the containers were very useful to have, but you don't need them. So I'm not going to go over all of it in its entirety because you guys all have the nutrition guide and all of those things. But this is the container system. So when I talk about Portion Fix or the containers, these are what I'm referring to. And then there's 2B Mindset. Both Portion Fix and 2B Mindset have a actual full program that you can purchase. It's not required, but you can purchase it. I have both of them. I've watched through most of the videos of both of them, and honestly have learned so much about nutrition from it. So I'm going to try and share some of the things that I've learned through that. But if nutrition is something that you really, really struggle with, and nutrition is something that is really tripping you up, I do recommend considering purchasing one of those programs, because actually hearing, like learning and gaining knowledge in that topic of how to fuel your body well, and realizing like it's not about calories, and it's not about perfection, and it's not about eating like the lightest food or whatever. It's just about eating the right things. And so if that's something like you seriously struggle with and you would like to talk further with me, please send me a message. I can help you determine if it is something that's a good fit for you, and if it is, which program. But a lot of times people can just get started with these. So there are guides for both in the unit section of our group. If you are in our group, the unit section has everything that you need, and just go to your page either on the desktop or on your phone, and there's a unit section, and there's all these different like start here and all of those things. So that has all the information you need, but I uploaded stuff for both 2B and Portion Fix. And if you have questions about those, just drop them in the chat as we go. Okay, I'm going to stop like reiterating myself here. So first of all, containers. There is a document with lists of containers, either in the program materials on the BOD app or in the unit section. I've posted them there as well. Basically, the rule of the containers is you're going to calculate how many containers you get. So if you're on plan A, you're going to need to fit 3 greens in your day. So you're going to eat 3 cups of veggies that day. So if you need a green, you're going to go to the green vegetable containers list and you're going to pick which one you want. And it will tell you either you put as much as you can in the cup, or if it's like an oblong shape, like a baby carrot, then it tells you how many baby carrots are equivalent to 1 cup of veggies. So that's like a really easy, like some things are very easy. Like if you're thinking about like a baked potato, well, a baked potato you can fit into this. Or it tells you half of a medium-sized potato is equivalent to 1 yellow. So if you want to roast it or cut it into fries or whatever, you don't have to smush it into a cup after you do it. So there are all sorts of different measurement guides on the containers list. So check that out. And if it fits and you can put the top on it afterwards, then it works. I don't care if you want to smush it all in or whatever. If you have pasta and you want to smush it in as much as you can, smush it in as much as you can. And if it fits with the top on it, that is 1 serving of that food. So that is the rule with the containers. It's super easy. If you are like at work, if anybody is like still an essential employee, you're at work and you're in the office and somebody brings in lunch for you guys that day and you're like, oh man, I don't have my containers. Don't sweat it. Try and eyeball it. But I will say for the first week or 2, I really suggest that you guys try to measure and dump with all of your food. That's like the phrase, like measure, dump, measure, dump, measure, dump. Because you're going to see that your eyeball version of portions is a lot different than the containers. You probably are not giving yourself enough food when it comes to protein and veggies, and you're probably giving yourself more food when it comes to carbs and healthy fats. So I know that when I started, I was like shocked at how much food I actually should have been eating, especially when it came to portions of protein and vegetables. So I would really suggest for the first couple weeks of getting used to it, measure, dump, get used to seeing those portions on a plate. It will help you in the long run. And eventually you aren't going to need the containers all of the time. You'll be able to just kind of eyeball what things look like. But that is like the basis of that plan. A couple other things to be noting as we're going into our first week. So for the first week, you're going to go through, especially if you've been eating kind of crummy. I know like I've been eating way more sugary stuff than I normally do the last couple weeks. I shared that when I shared my before photos today. And so I am fully expecting to go through like the typical sugar withdrawals this week. So you're probably going to feel kind of sluggish. You're probably going to feel kind of tired. You're probably going to feel kind of hungry. You should never, ever be starving to the point of like lightheadedness or something like that. Like, I don't want anybody on here starving. So if you are like feeling like really not feeling well, realizing like I really need more food, then you need to eat more food. If you have eaten all of your containers for that day according to the plan that you calculated according to your weight and your lifestyle, and if you have any questions about that, I can explain that further too. If you have already done that for the day, I usually advise that you start with 1 veggie in the beginning, the first week, just because your body's getting used to it. And if you're still feeling that way, then add in a protein. And if you're still feeling that way, you can add in a carb, but normally by that point you shouldn't be. You should have eaten all that you needed to for the day and you should feel satisfied and be able to go to sleep. Know that the first week you're gonna feel hungry, but that should not last forever. So if you're getting into your second and your third week and you're still hungry all the time and all you're doing is thinking about food, you're not eating enough food. So we need to bump you up a plan. That is okay, even if according to the calculation is not perfect, okay? It is really scientific. It's usually pretty accurate, but maybe you are more active than you originally thought and you needed to throw on a couple extra calories or a couple hundred extra calories. So we are gonna bump you up a plan. So that usually means that you are adding in another veggie and I think another protein from plan A to plan B. That might be it. Maybe another carb too. Um, and so that will automatically add that into your everyday, and then give yourself another week, and et cetera, et cetera. So normally people don't have to bump up more than one plan unless you are like breastfeeding or pregnant or something like that. You might find that you want to bump up 2 plans. Or if you are extremely, extremely active, a lot of nurses, like if you are on your feet 12 hours a day and you're working multiple shifts a week, particularly on the days that you're working, if you're working 12 hours a day and you're trying to get a workout in there, then you definitely need to be upping your calorie intake, because that is just a lot of calories burned. If But maybe if you're only working 3 shifts a week and you're feeling like you're not as hungry on the other days, then maybe bump back down for the other days, if that makes sense. So everybody needs to just do what works for them. But that is like the general rule of thumb for if you're feeling hungry. Don't want anybody feeling hungry. Nobody needs to be starving themselves. Nobody needs to obsess over the calories that they're eating or anything like that. But know that the first week you are going to feel hungry because your body's like, whoa, 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 I want some more sugar, man. So if you are like at the end of the day and you're like, I'm really, really hungry, I definitely need some fruit, or I definitely need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you're not hungry. But if you're at the end of the day and you're like, I'm not hungry, but Callie said that I should eat a vegetable, I'm going to have some carrots, and you eat those carrots, like, you probably were still hungry. But if you're like, I don't really want carrots though, you're fine. That's my rule of thumb. I'm like, if you don't want to eat a cup of vegetables, then you're fine. So let yourself feel those things for the first week and know that it will pass. Know that you'll feel better. And by the end of the first week, you should be feeling more energetic. I'm sure that
What?
you will feel less bloated and all of those things. And
Maybe
know
just
that I
Worcestershire and
will,
soy sauce with a little Dijon.
and that I'm looking forward to that as well. Um, I think I'm missing some. Okay. So that is that. Allison asked, what are some helpful tips for people in a season and can't quite follow a specific program? Examples, new moms or caregivers who are providing for others in a season of survival. Yes, survival mode. You guys, I lived in survival mode for about a year. My suggestion for you would be to really focus on your water intake. Definitely see if you can find a time once a week to be doing meal prep. Meal prep is important for everyone, but particularly if you are in a season where you are just like surviving, meal prep is going to be major for you to be getting the calories that you need in a day. I know, like, when I first had Carson, I would literally, it'd be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd be like, did I eat anything today? Nope, didn't eat anything yet today. Like, you just are like lost in space. So having foods ready and available to you, and it doesn't have to be like the most perfect meal prep, but just having like something. Maybe you make like an egg casserole dish that you can just like heat up really fast, or anything, particularly for new moms, you're going to need those extra calories, whether you're breastfeeding or not. In that beginning stage of being a new mom, like, you're just exhausted and all of those things. And so you need those extra calories. So don't be afraid to just eat when you're hungry. But yeah, I would say find somebody who can help you for like an hour or two a week, if possible, to help you just like meal prep, watch the baby while you meal prep. Alex used to take the baby on Sundays and they would go take a nap together, and I really wanted to go take a nap too, but I would make myself meal prep, and that was just so helpful. And I would just have the food in my fridge, and I know other things that were really anything on the go, easy on the go. So I did wraps. I did egg and spinach in a wheat wrap, and that was like super easy. I could just pop it in the microwave for like 15 seconds and it was ready in the morning, and then I had breakfast and I didn't have to like even think about plates or like dishes. So egg cups are another big one. I know all I've really said are egg suggestions because eggs are just so easy. But also having like yogurts and granola bars and things like that as well. Deli meat is great. I lived off of turkey when I first had Carson. I had deli meat all the time. And just having fresh fruits and veggies cut up and washed and ready to eat, particularly portioned out. I really like to put everything into little small containers, and that helps me just grab the container and be done. So don't be afraid to put in the effort in the beginning of the week. It'll take you a couple of hours, especially the first time, but it is worth that time because then you are fueling yourself for the rest of the week. And that goes for everybody, not just, people in a season of survival. No matter who you are, what you're doing, especially right now, life might be slow for you, but that doesn't mean it's less stressful and it doesn't mean it's less emotional. And so even if you are at home and by yourself and all of those things, you still might be dealing with stress or anxiety or whatever, and you still need to feel yourself well, but it might still be hard to like make that effort. So do the meal prep in the beginning of the week. It's going to be a lifesaver for you. What other questions do you guys have for me? Or Natalie, what was something that was helpful for you in the beginning? I think you're muted.
Talked to Callie about this today. I was so hyper focused on every food that I wanted to eat and what container it went into and freaking out if I didn't know where it went and like that would, throw off progress or something like that. But I feel like the biggest thing, I really feel like I've started to dial into nutrition now in like the past few months or so. And something that's been helping me is definitely pairing. And I feel like I would see Callie's meal plan, and in the beginning I would think, okay, like her afternoon snack is, let's say, like apple slices and almonds. That may have also been last week's too, I can't remember. But I was like, oh, I can just like get by on apples, and that way like I'll save a blue container, and if at the end of the day I don't need a blue container, like woohoo, like we're in a negative balance, like that's awesome. And that was horrible. I was hungry all the time and it just didn't work. And so I feel like pairing things like an apple and like, a little bit of almond butter, or doing like pairing things so that way you're full, like definitely the salad dressing. I thought I would skip that and be like, oh, I'll be healthy, I won't do salad dressing. No, use it. It makes you full and you won't be snacking and 2 hours later. And like, that's probably one of the biggest things that have.
Yeah, that is something that is really huge and addressed in the nutrition programs, is talking about how your body needs. First of all, one thing that some people will do is be like, oh, I need 3 containers of veggies in a day. I'm going to eat them all at dinner time. And your body literally won't absorb all the nutrients because your body doesn't, like, your body needs time to digest things. Just like if you were sitting in a class and they were like, instead of doing this over the course of the semester, we're just going to throw everything at you today and then you go home and figure out the rest. How's that sound? Like, that is your body when you throw tons of veggies at it and that's it, and then walk away for the day. Like, you need to do everything in portions and servings because that's how your body absorbs those nutrients. And your body needs other things paired with it. So that's why fiber is super important. Fiber, you need to have fiber in every meal. That's why like celery juice and like all of those juicing things are a big thing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with drinking celery juice, like no problem with it at all. However, when you drink juices, you are removing the fiber from the food. So you're getting the nutrients to an extent, but you're not getting the fiber with those nutrients to help your body digest it. And that's why like only having juicing or something like that wouldn't be good for your body, because it wouldn't help the nutrients be absorbed into the bloodstream. Same thing with healthy fats. That's exactly what Natalie said. Just like, that's literally what it is. You have to have healthy fats with your food. So you might look at it and say, I only get 1 blue container. What do you mean I need a healthy fat? But if you notice, you get a blue container, you get an orange container, which is also healthy fats, and then you get teaspoons. So you have a healthy fat to pair with every meal, whether that be olive oil or peanut butter or coconut oil or whatever it is, or a nut or a cheese or hummus or avocado, whatever it might be. Those are all healthy fats and they all need paired with other things so that you can, sorry, just one second. Okay, so that you can absorb all of the nutrients. And so yes, pairing is so super important. And it doesn't have to be like totally perfect, but just know that when you are pairing your foods with other types of food groups, it's going to help your body absorb those nutrients better. So to go with your question, Amy, it doesn't matter in the sense of if you wanted to have like often when I have a salad, I'll have 2 servings of vegetables just because like lettuce is usually 1 cup and then you want to add in like cucumbers and tomatoes and carrots. And I also add healthy fats into that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Just know that you also should be eating other vegetables throughout the day as well, because your body might not absorb as much of the nutrients if you just eat them all in 1 serving. So lettuce is super, super low calorie. So eating a lot of lettuce is not necessarily a bad thing. Usually though, when we eat a lot of lettuce, we eat a lot of toppings. And when we eat a lot of toppings, we're eating a lot of extra healthy fats. So if that is going to fall outside of your containers for the day, that might inhibit your progress. If that happens all the time.
Sorry, I feel like something too that helped me was definitely like if I wanted to make an omelet in the morning and I want like what I've been doing recently is putting cheese in there too, just like kind of like help me fill up because I feel like I used to just do like 2 eggs and that was it. And then I'd be hungry like an hour later. But like adding veggies and a little bit of cheese has helped me stay more full. But then it's like, crap, I just used my blue container and it's 9 a.m. and like what, so like definitely what's helped me, and it's taken some work to like really eyeball it and be like really honest with myself, is splitting it, like doing half a blue in the morning and half a blue later. And it's definitely been like an honesty point for me because like so easy just like throw cheese everywhere. But that's been something that's helpful for me. So I don't know, that might help other people.
Yeah, I almost always split my blue container. This is actually a lot. This looks like a really small container, but when you put hummus in here, it's way too much hummus for me. It's like so much hummus. And so I have just started doing half of the container for hummus if I want like hummus and veggies. And then I have half of the container for cheese or avocado or whatever. And then you're getting like more bang for your buck, so to say. But I used to do just 1 thing of hummus and I was like, I'm not even finishing the hummus because I'm out of veggies. And so it's actually a big container when you actually measure it out. So I just have started splitting it as well. And that works really well for me. Yeah, almond milk in your shake is a teaspoon. If you're doing almond milk in your shake every day, I would count it as a teaspoon. If you're doing almond milk in your shake once a week, don't worry about it. It's not going to kill you. You don't have to count it. Almond milk is super low calorie as well, and it's great for you. So don't worry about adding that to your shake every once in a while. But if you are adding it to your shake every day, which I do because it's delicious, I count it as a teaspoon every day. And if you're doing 2B, then this is totally different than what you're doing as far as talking about the containers and all of that. But it still applies when we're talking about pairing foods together and helping you digest and keeping you full and all of those things. So like Seymour, I know you're doing 2B with me. And so there's not really a limit on healthy fats in the sense of you get those like extra toppings with every meal, which is really nice. I struggle most with eating enough unless it's a perfect day. I'm busy or stressed out. So Deanna, I would try to find recipes where you can fit more into the recipe. So one good thing is like a spaghetti squash casserole where you can throw like spaghetti squash and ground turkey and you can throw in sauce and count that as a fruit. You can throw in some other veggies if you want to and maybe some cheese for a healthy fat. And then that's just like in a casserole and you just eat it. It's really easy to eat because it's all in one dish and you're getting a lot of servings in. I also used to make in the mornings, I would make like, it was like an oatmeal and zucchini. I would throw zucchini in, an egg and fruit. It was like an oatmeal bake, but it had a veggie and a fruit and protein because it had eggs in it. And so that was a really helpful way to get like a lot of nutrients into a smaller dish. And it kept me full for a long time too. So that's good. That's a really good way to do it. When you're eating all raw vegetables and all raw fruits and all separate like proteins and containers, it can get hard to feel like you're eating a lot of food sometimes. And you're right, because you're eating lower calorie foods, you need to eat all of them or your energy is going to crash. And so I would definitely suggest finding those recipes where you can add a bunch of them in at once. For the zucchini, for that oatmeal, I would shred it. I shredded the zucchini and then I put it in and I baked it like an oatmeal bake. So if you've ever made baked oatmeal, literally just put like oatmeal and usually use milk. I used almond milk and I used eggs. So because I had eggs in it, that was extra liquid. And then I would throw in like cinnamon and yeah, I haven't made it in so long, but I will find the recipe and I'll share it. I added like cinnamon and honey and, just some extra things to make it taste a little bit better. And it was so good and it had all the nutrients. Okay, any other questions there? We've got about 15 minutes, probably not 15. Yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left. So is there any other topics I haven't addressed or something that you're confused on? If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it, so please don't hesitate to ask. Or if there's something that like you were confused on in the beginning, I know Angelica, you've been around for a while, and Allie, you've been around for a while, Kayla, Amy, Allison. So if anybody has anything that they're like, well, this confused me in the beginning, could you help me? Or could you maybe explain that further?
Well, I actually had the question, Callie.
Yeah.
I have been doing a lot more recipes of mixing everything, like mixed cauliflower rice with peppers and onions. And how do I measure using my containers when it's all meshed together?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm eating enough of it.
Yeah. Okay. So what I do is if I'm making a recipe, I measure it before I cook it. So I know that I put in 1 cup of cauliflower rice or 2 cups of cauliflower rice and then 1 cup of corn and 1 cup of carrots. So I would put it all together, and then I would portion it out in servings and I would divide it up that way. So if you have 6 servings from it and you know that you put in, and I always tried to make everything even so that it was easy to divide up. And also don't be afraid to like round down or round up. If you're feeling like you're not eating enough, round up or round down. And if you feel like you're eating too much, round up. But so yeah, measure the ingredients before you put them into the recipe and then divide them by the servings that you do. That makes it so much easier than trying to just put it all into 1 cup and saying that's enough when it's probably not, because it has all sorts of different things in it and you need more than just 1 cup. Think about anything else. Make sure that you're drinking lots and lots of water every day, but particularly this week, because like I said, if you haven't been following a nutrition plan, or maybe you've been having some more indulgences lately, you're gonna feel those effects of like the lack of sugar in your body. And so just drink lots of water and eat your veggies and your protein. Eat your carbs first. So I'm not like crazy about the carbs. Like, I don't care when you eat carbs. I believe that if you're eating well-rounded, 80-20 balanced lifestyle, you're moving your body, you're drinking water, all of those things, that 1, 2, 3 times of something happening isn't going to alter your results. However, our body really doesn't need carbs at night because we don't need the energy because we're going to sleep. And so it's not that carbs are bad at night. Please don't hear me say that. But it's better to eat your carbs in the beginning of the day because your body needs that energy to get you through the day. So if you save them all for the evening and you're tired during the day, that's probably why, because your body's like, I need that energy. And so that's why it's better to eat them first and kind of like just stick to veggies and protein at night, because you don't really need that energy to go to sleep. Activity level. So activity level is kind of like right now, in our current state that the world is in, I would say if you are not like working a million hours on your feet, not a million hours, but you know what I mean? If you're not working like, 40 plus hours a week and you're on your feet all the time, if you're not doing that, like Deanna and I have talked about this because Deanna is literally on her feet all day long. And so exercise is really hard for her because she's literally just on her feet all the time. And she's exercising with riding her horses and getting everything ready at the barn and all of those things. And so we've talked through that because her lifestyle is just very different, and that's fine. So, but for the most part, a lot of us are just kind of home. Maybe we're going on walks and hikes and stuff, but we're not like, burning zillions of calories on our feet. But there is a large portion of our group who also is nurses or other essential employees who are on their feet every day. And if that is you, I want you to probably bump up a caloric level. If you are sitting in an office for the most part, or if you're like sometimes sitting in office and sometimes doing something, my guess is your activity level is not like crazy through the roof. So you probably know if you're somebody who's just on your feet all day. And if you're on your feet all day, you should bump up a level. So what I tell people who are like pregnant and breastfeeding and just automatically burning calories because of what their body is doing every day, I tell them to start at not just me, the program. You start at your maintenance level. So if you know that there's a maintenance level and a weight loss level, you're going to start at your maintenance level, and then you're going to add 300 to 500 calories, and then you're going to see what plan you fall into. You might need to even round up to bump up a plan because of the range. So I would say the same for a high activity level. If you're someone who's on your feet all day, I would start at your maintenance level and then bump up. If you are not seeing the results that you want following that plan, you can try bumping down and just adding on a veggie and a protein. So you can, like if you're plan A and you don't want to bump up to plan B, but you have a high activity level and you need extra energy, you can add in just a veggie and a protein. You don't have to bump all the way up by adding in a carb as well, if that makes sense. This only makes sense if you're literally looking at the plans and know like how many containers are in each, but you don't get like extra containers in every category. You only get, I think like veggie, protein, carbs is what you get more in. So does that make sense? Did I clarify that, Allison? Okay. So yeah, I would say 10 rounds is going to be moderate activity. The only programs that I would say are like super high activity level would be the Work, 80-Day Obsession, and like P90X, like the old school Tony Hortons. Anything that's like an hour long like that. But I would probably consider 10 rounds moderate. Although it's going to be awesome. Okay, any other questions? We have like 3 minutes on here. Was this helpful? Are you guys still like frazzled, or is this good? Are you feeling better, ready for tomorrow? My like number one tip for you is that you're not going to do it perfectly, and that's okay. And you just keep trying. If you haven't watched my brush your teeth video, you need to go watch that. Honestly, like the biggest thing I could have learned in my health and fitness journey is just like treat it like you do brushing your teeth. If you forget brushing your teeth in the morning, you're not going to like forget brushing your teeth for the rest of your life or, for 3 weeks. You're just going to go home and brush your teeth again. So if you have a bad nutrition day or you miss a workout, like you're not going to just, I'll try again in a few weeks. Like, no, just go home and brush your teeth. Like go home and eat a healthy meal. Go home and move your body. Like just start a new day and try again. So don't quit just because you mess up one time. I promise you, every single one of you is going to mess up. It's going to happen. I'm going to mess up. You're going to mess up. We are human and that's normal. So don't stress over it. And it gets easier. I promise it gets easier. It's less time consuming. It's less mentally taxing to figure out. It gets easier.
I feel like something for me too. I don't know if anybody else was like this, but when I first started, and even now, like trying to find ways to almost like cheat the system, like, you know, eating less containers or trying to substitute like using like really low carb things like for your carb, and like you're trying to eat less carbs because you're trying to think, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like trying to eat less because like you want that negative like all of those things. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is trust the process, as cheesy as it sounds, and it's not going to happen overnight. So like cheating the system and trying to make yourself less full or like eating less, it's only going to like hurt you later. So like that's the biggest thing for me, at least.
Very true. All right, it's gonna cut us off, everybody. Smile. We're gonna take a boomerang. Oh. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Good job, guys. All right, thank you for coming. Ask any questions in the page. We are happy to answer them, and you guys got this. I'm excited for day 1.
Thank you.
Bye.